This video is actually an older video that I actually started, but I never finished it. But after going back and listening to it, I got inspired to finish this one up. So I went ahead, re-recorded this video, add some different clips, and now I'm happy to release it. And the reason why I brought this up is because at the time when I first started working on this video, the new Freedom movie was announced. And it just made me think that as much love as Seed gets, and I have no issue with that, but I feel there's other Gundam series that I would like to see get as much love as Seed. Or I should say, at least extend on the story. And that's what this video is. The Gundam series that I feel deserves either a proper continuation or an expansion with another anime season or series. Now, like any time I do these videos, I have rules, and the number one rule about this video is I'm only going to cover series that actually had an anime release. Movie or TV series, or even OVA. As long as they had an anime with it, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it. Now, for the first series I wanna talk about, this is a Gundam series that I've said multiple times on this channel that if I was trying to get somebody into Gundam, I would not recommend them start with this series. But just because I say that, that does not mean that this is a bad series whatsoever, and that is G Gundam. Let's just be honest, G Gundam to me is a toned down super robot kind of series, but it's just a really good series and a really easy series to get everybody in. And I would love for the series to get another season like way into the future. I don't want to see a remake, I want to see a continuation like 2, 3, not 2, 3, my fault, like 25, 30, 50 years down the line. I love the concept of having each nation having to fight battles to rule the world for the next 4 years, which I think was a great concept. And then to have a weekly Gundam battle with each nation having a Gundam to represent them. I would love to return to that world with new, more modern designs of the Gundams that represents for each country. Because let's just be honest, G Gundam did not have necessarily the best designs for all their Gundams. So here's an idea that I thought would be cool if you were to ever bring back G Gundam, and I think it would be a great way to promote the series. And that is, you let every country either hire somebody from that country or do a contest and let people design their own Gundam and submit them. And whoever you choose or whoever who wins, they get their Gundam featured in the series, and you release a new G Gundam series by 2028 at the time of the Olympics. I don't know, I just think that would be a cool way to introduce, or I should say reintroduce people to the G Gundam universe. So that's just a concept that I thought that would be cool. At the end of the day, I just think it would be really cool to go back to the G Gundam universe and kind of expand on it, or I should say expand, but go into the future, because I think G Gundam was a cool concept and I would love to see it again. Fun fact, did you know that the Tequila Gundam has its own song? You think I'm lying? Go ahead and look it up. We gotta go back to the series where a lot of American fans got introduced to Gundam, and you should already know what that is. It's Gundam Wing. Now, I already talked about this in another video, so I'll try to be a lot faster. So, how I feel is, it doesn't need to be a continuation. Well, it will be, but I think you need to adapt the Endless Waltz storyline. So, the way I feel like it should work is that you do a prequel series, then you go into the television show in the Endless Waltz timeline, then you actually go into the Endless Waltz OVA, but you don't necessarily need to remake it. You could just do a remaster with just extra scenes and maybe more episodes. Then after that, you go into Till's Impulse as like a little mini movie. Then you end with Frozen Teardrop. Oh, also, you have a couple of episodes with the G-Unit series. That's how I feel it should go. Now, I haven't watched the series in years, but I have watched a couple of episodes in the past 2 and 3 years, and I will admit it, the series wasn't as great as what I thought it was, but it still is good, it still is solid, definitely has issues. But how Gundam Wing introduced, I guess, America to Gundam, I just think there's nothing wrong with it being an extension. I mean, heck, honestly, I doubt this will ever happen, but if they ever do a life-size statue in America, there's only 2 Gundams I can actually see them doing. Well, there's actually more than 2, but mainly 2 Gundams I would like to see. One, which honestly doesn't make sense and it probably never happened, which is the Freedom Gundam, but Freedom Gundam is actually done in China, which, I mean, I guess it doesn't make sense to me because, you know, America, what is it, the land of the free? Freedom? Either way, so we probably won't get Freedom. So the only other Gundam I could see that you should put in America if we were to ever get a life-size Gundam statue, it would have to be the Wing Gundam. The Endless Waltz version. The Zero version. The Wing Zero version custom. That version, my bad. There's a lot of versions, but yes, it's the Wing Zero custom. That is the version that I could see being put in America. It's the only one that I can see them doing a life-size statue of. Since this is a series that did introduce Gundam to America. The next series I feel that we should go back to is a series that I have watched the entire thing, but I can barely remember it, and that is After War Gundam X. And outside of my biases of being one of my favorite Gundam designs, the setting of this series, to me, has a lot of untapped potential. And I may be wrong about this, but I think this one only has 39 episodes. And if I remember right, this is probably one, if not the shortest Gundam mainline series. And going back to my bias with the Gundam design, I would love for there to be a redesign, an official redesign of the Gundam X that is not reliant on a satellite. That's my one big issue with this suit, is that it's reliant on a satellite for it to get its most powerful weapon off. And I never really liked that about this Gundam. So I would love to see another Gundam redesign that's not reliant on a satellite. Now, with how short this season was, I just feel like the setting of this series should just get another chance. So yes, if I had my choice, I would love to go back to Gundam X and give it another chance to go back into that universe, expand it, and see what other interesting stories that you can tell in a Gundam After War setting. Now, I'm going to be honest with this one. This one I mentioned I'm completely cheating. But the next one I would love to see delve more into is Gundam F91. And it's simply because I want to see Crossbow Gundam get animated. That's really what it is. It's just I want to see Crossbow Gundam get an anime. That's it. Now, full transparency, I've only read the first couple of chapters of Crossbone Gundam, and that's only because when I did read it, there was only, I think, 1 or 2 chapters that were actually translated. Now, it may have changed recently, but when I read it, there wasn't that many chapters. But I hear so much about this series that I would love for Crossbow Gundam to actually get an anime. Because honestly, I really want to know what it's all about. So yeah, I would say F91 simply just to get a Crossbow Gundam anime. So this one right here is my honorable mention, and that is the 8th MS team. Simply put, one reason is that it's one of my favorite Gundam series of all time. But I don't really feel like you need to continue this series, but I just tend to like the guerrilla warfare like series when it comes to Gundam. And I know you have Thunderbolt Gundam, and I forgot that new one that came out on Netflix. So there are some out there like that. But the number one reason why this has to be part of my honorable mentions is because it's part of the Universal Century. And the Universal Century has so many settings in that timeline and so many series that it doesn't really make sense to add a series like that from the Universal timeline when it's always being expanded upon and updated with all kinds of series and side stories. Of course, there are some exceptions, which I gave you one earlier in this video. Now, there is one more honorable mention, and that is IBO, Iron-Blooded Orphans, and that's only because there are still 57 more Gundam frames to discover. Well, at least according to this list. So simply because of that, that is the best reason to go back to the IBO universe. And as a person, I'm not gonna lie, Iron-Blooded Orphans is one of my favorite Gundam series of all time. Any excuse to go back to that universe, I'm 110% for. Now, the reason why this is on the honorable mentions, and it kind of goes in two directions, is because they are adapting the mobile game storyline into an animation. So because it's not a new story, so most likely they won't be adding any more frames, or you're not going to be able to see any additional frames that hasn't been discovered in the actual game itself. But vice versa, they are continuing in this universe. And because they're continuing in this universe, I had to put this in honorable mentions. But the last on my list, and the one that comes to mind, has to be the Build series. Now, I know the Build series had a couple of OVA, but that wasn't really enough. I would love for there to be another Gundam Build series, because I really did like that series. I watched every single one. Now, I will admit this. I will say that if you're probably over the age of 12, it kind of becomes a hard watch, I'll be honest with you. The only one that was actually good, and I think was the best one out of all of them, outside the OVAs, had to be the Build Diver series. I actually did like the Build Diver series. That one was actually good. But I would love for there to be another Build series. I think the Build series is really good. I think it's really the best way to get new people into Gundam, particularly kids. And lastly, it's just cool to see variants of different mobile suits that you probably won't be able to see or get in the main timelines of any of the Gundam series. And also, and this is the big change I would like them to add, is that they will add a lot more custom mobile suits, because that's the one thing I always hated about every Build series. They never have enough variants in the Build series. Like, I would like to see a lot more variants than what they normally do. But again, like I said, this series is definitely for kids, but I think out of all of them that I watched, I definitely do feel the Build Divers, my fault, the Build Divers Re-Rise. I keep forgetting there's a second series to that one. But to me, Build Divers Re-Rise has the best storyline in the Build series, outside of some untapped OVAs, but I don't count them because they're just too short and they're just potential. But out of all the Build series, I feel Build Divers Re-Rise is the best series to get into if you're an older fan of Gundam, teenage or and up. And I only bring that up is because I hope that the next Build Fighter series that they do keep the older fan in mind. Not saying the series needs to cater to older fans, but just to be digestible for older fans. One more thing I would like to add is I would love to see more characters from the main Gundam timeline show up in the Build Fighter series, but I would actually like them to be a part of it, because I would love to see some of these characters pilot variants of their suits. I think it would be a cool little Easter egg to add. I would love to see it a lot more. And not just be a cameo, but actually have battles. And again, it doesn't have to be the main characters, but maybe just more of the important side characters. That will be just fine. And even if it was just an episode, I'll be 100% fine with that. So that's it. These are all the Gundam series I would love to see, or I should say Gundam timelines, I would love to go back to and to be further expanded or explored. Actually, that might be the title for this video. But with that being said, in the comments down below, let me know what Gundam timelines that you feel should be explored or expanded upon. And I'm talking in an anime format because there's plenty of series that has been expanded upon, which we all know, but I'm talking about specifically getting its own series. So once again, let me know in the comments down below, especially if you want a chance for your comment to be featured in a future video. Question for y'all. Do you like my Gundam shorts? Because honestly, I love making them, but there's a problem. If you're looking on screen right there, that is my display case. And that little area is all the room I have left to store my Gundam kits. So once that space gets filled, I will no longer be able to do any more Gundam shorts. But there is a way to save them, and you have that power. And it's very simple. All you gotta do is go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Help me save Gundam shorts on this channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, help grow this channel, and help us build one of the strongest communities on the internet today. And if you own Gundam Breaker 4 and you want a chance to be featured on this channel, why don't you go ahead and submit your build using the link down below for a chance to get your build featured in a future video on this channel. Just to let y'all know, we actually have a page over there on Vero, V-E-R-O. Make sure to go over there and check it out. I really want to try to build on that platform because it's very untapped, and I feel we could do a lot of great things over there. So make sure to go ahead, follow, and help us build one of the strongest communities over there too.